Joseph Roberts, the Fantasy Football Counselor. Trying things a little bit differently today. Plugged into my iPhone, earpods, trying to see how this sounds. Just doing this on the fly. Got a new phone, so I thought I'd utilize this new iPhone 12. So today, guys, you know Saturday's a DFS show. Going to walk you through the optimal plays at each position, at every position, okay? Got my screen pulled up here. Now, before I get into this, guys, I am teamed up with Manscaped. I don't know where my trimmer is. I think it's upstairs because I'm actually using it. But make sure you guys head over to manscaped.com. Use promo code SHOWERLION. I assure you guys, you'll be very, very happy with your trimmer, Lawnmower 3.0. So check that out. Grab it. Go over there, manscaped.com. Use promo code SHOWERLION, okay? Now, DFS. If you guys are playing DFS, I'm going to give you guys some practical tips here to help you guys out. Now, if you're in those GPP, guaranteed prize pool things, you got to understand, guys, it's very, very hard to win, especially if there's like 500,000 people in the league, right? In the group. So in order to win, you got to enter multi-lineups. So there's got to be multi-lineup set up. So initially, you got to research the guys that you want, which I'm going to basically give you guys the optimal players at each position, the guys I like for the week at each position. You got to research the guys you like and then basically mix and match some of them while taking some risks on some players at, let's say, the wide receiver position or whatever position you want to take some wild cards on. Because you have those guys that break out that week. They have like that phenomenal week. They have like this crazy week and they go off. Last week, I can't even remember. I think it was like Dalvin Cook and like Pat Mahomes had like a crazy week. So you got to accommodate and make sure that you guys do start the right people, but also get those guys that break out and have those big weeks, okay? So you gotta think outside the box a little bit. You got to be creative in your approach, and you will succeed, okay? Again, multi-lineup sometimes. Again, mix and match. So, again, if you have a really good lineup, swap out a couple players. Maybe that player that you had in one lineup didn't break out. Then you increase your chance of winning, okay? Here we go. So let's go through the optimal players at each position. Let's start off with the quarterback position. Drew Lock, great matchup. Josh Allen's got a phenomenal matchup against Seattle. Make sure you guys consider starting him. Derek Carr, great matchup, although he had a 13-point week last week. Nothing to get excited about. Deshaun Watson, good matchup again. Jacksonville, you want to consider him. Tom Brady, also an optimal matchup. Justin Herbert, optimal matchup as well, okay? Out of those guys, the value plays would be Derek Carr and Drew Lock. Obviously, Tom Brady, a little more expensive. I think he's $6,900, but again, you get what you pay for, right? Other guys you may want to consider here, Russell Wilson's got kind of a mid-range matchup. Now, Pat Mahomes coming off in a huge week last week, over 40 points, does have a tougher matchup against Carolina secondary, so that's something you may want to consider being cautious of. Ryan Tannehill, also a tough matchup versus Chicago. Teddy Bridgewater, tough matchup versus KC, okay? Just be aware of that. Now, I did do a Stars and Sits show that gives you all the guys to be aware of and possibly avoid, okay? Now, when you're playing DFS, a little bit of a different game. Make sure you guys take some risks, take some chances. Again, like I said, mix and match, especially at the wide receiver position, okay? Running back position, guys that have an optimal matchup that you may want to consider playing this week. They've got it in good. You may want to consider Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook had a huge week. He is expensive, $8,200 on DraftKings. Very, very expensive, but you may want to consider him. James Robinson, also an optimal matchup. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a crappy week last week. Does have a good matchup against Carolina, him and both Le'Veon Bell. Now, it is a bit of a mess with Le'Veon Bell there, but I still think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the guy there. David Johnson's got a good matchup against Jacksonville. He's been safe and steady at best. Nothing phenomenal, nothing outstanding with David Johnson, but he's getting stuff done. He's getting stuff done, that's for sure. Who else is here? James Conner's got a good matchup. You may want to consider him. David Montgomery, he's been safe and boring at best. Chase Edmonds, I really do like this week. He is expensive. He is $6,800 with Kenny Drake being ruled out. Chase Edmonds is a guy that's going to get some work and have a good week. Last time he played with 22 points. Also another guy I want to consider. I think Chris Carson's out as well, so you may want to consider DJ Dallas as well as a wild card play with some upside. Looking at the wide receiver position, be smart with your selection here. Stephon Diggs, optimal matchup versus Seattle. Great matchup for him. You may want to consider him, but he is expensive, $7,400. That's something you have to be aware of, okay? Juju, Chase Claypool, Deontay, a bit of a crapshoot as to who's going to get the volume there. I like Claypool at $5,700. He is second in regards to value. I mean, if you look at Deontay, $5,000, Claypool, $5,700. And Juju, $6,200 on DraftKings. I do like Chase Claypool. Hamler, also a good value here with a good matchup. Him and Judy have a good matchup there. Allen Robinson, good matchup, $6,900 on DraftKings, expensive, but had a good week. Last time he played, 21 points there for him, okay? Laviska Shenault and the Jacksonville Receivers, although there hasn't been a spark in that offense, they do have a good matchup versus position. Do you trust them? Probably not, but just to be aware of it. Amari Cooper, a.k.a. Amari Cooper, has been playing like poop. Just been playing like crap. Honestly, let's be honest with ourselves here. Again, it's been the quarterback, Dak Prescott being out, that offense being atrocious, and I think Zeke Elliott is questionable for this matchup, which doesn't help the situation at all, as defenses are going to key in on wide receivers. They are playing Pittsburgh. It is a tougher matchup. If they don't have to worry about the run that much, then, wide receivers are going to get a lot of attention, okay? So Amari Cooper does have it in tough against Pittsburgh, okay? Other guys with good, so he does have it good against Pittsburgh, against the wide receivers, sorry, but again, has it in tough with quarterbacks. I totally messed that up. It's an optimal matchup versus position, but I don't trust him. I don't trust any of the wide receivers for the Cowboys right now. Antonio Brown, guys, is playing. Now, him and I think Godwin is set to play, to my understanding, so is Evans. Bit of a disaster there. We don't know who's going to get the ball. It is an optimal matchup here. Who do you start? Again, it's the roll of the dice. Similarly to the situation with the Steelers, the Claypool's, the Juju's, the Deontay. We don't know. It's one of those situations where you've got good receivers all around, and they're spreading the ball around. So it is a bit of a disaster there. Antonio Brown could end up with some points, could get a touchdown. We're not sure. Who knows, okay? Something to be aware of and cautious about. DeAndre Hopkins, also a good matchup. There has been a debate going on now with the greatest wide receiver in the league right now, Julio Jones and Devontae Adams, both believing they are the ones. Same with Hopkins. Hopkins laughing at it from what I hear. It's a bit of a coin toss there. I would probably have to give it right now, the way that the play has been, is to Devontae Adams. But again, it's tough. They're all great receivers, all arguably top three at the wide receiver position between those three guys particularly, okay? Thielen, and I do like Thielen. I do like Jefferson as a pretty good value play. They got a relatively easy matchup versus position versus Detroit. You may want to consider them as a guy that's a bit of a value play, especially Jefferson, a little bit more of a value at $6,100 compared to Thielen at $6,100. And those are some of the wide receivers I do like. Again, if you want to take some risks, Nelson Aguilar, right, $4,700. There's a wild card. He could go off. Guys like that you may want to consider. I'm taking a look here. Is there anyone else that stands out here? Not really. The other guys that have tough matchups, go back and listen to my starts and sits. Guys like Tyler Lockett, he does Metcalf. They do have it in tough coming off that huge week. They are playing Buffalo's secondary, sixth hardest matchup versus position. So just something to be cautious about. They will continue to be expensive based on their performances, but they do have a tougher matchup. Starts and sits explains all of that, guys, okay? Moving on to tight end. With tight end, always try to get yourself a guy that's going to put up some points. Kelsey, even though he's got the ninth hardest matchup versus position against Carolina, they play tight ends a little bit tougher. Coming off a huge week last time they played. Again, ninth hardest versus position, but Kelsey, $7,200, but you want that reliable tight end. Darren Waller's got an easy matchup, of $5,800, better value than Kelsey, and has a little bit of upside. Gronkowski's been pretty safe and steady. You are paying $4,900. He does have the third easiest matchup versus position. Noah Fant, easy matchup versus position. Jordan Akins didn't do anything lately, but any tight end from Houston you may want to consider could put up some points. They do have a good matchup. Second easiest versus position. Who else is good here? Evan Ingram, hard to trust here. Darren Fells, like I said, from Houston, he's probably a better option. But again, look at them. Take a look at how consistent they've been, right? They do have an easy matchup, but again, they haven't been putting up any points, okay? Someone you may want to consider as well, Janelle Smith, right? Tight end for Tennessee Titans, right? They are playing Chicago, but Chicago tends to play tight ends a little bit looser than they do other positions, right? So they have more of an opportunity to put up some points, okay? And that's pretty much it for tight end. Try to get yourself someone who is consistent. Go back and look. Tight end, I like to make sure I try to get 10 points out of them no matter what. So if I have to spend a little bit more on tight end, I end up doing that for sure, okay? Defenses this week, it's a little tough, but I definitely try to start the best defense on paper. And there's two of them I do like this week. And I don't like to stray away from that. So even though there's other defenses with good matchups that could boom, I like to get those ones that seem like the obvious good defense to start. And I think the Steelers versus Dallas is a good start for you. I also like the Patriots versus the Jets, okay? Now, listen, you guys are going into week 9, whether it be reality or fantasy or DFS, whatever it is. Listen, you got to go in, make sure you start the right people, stay sharp on that waiver wire, make sure that you guys got the right waiver wire picks to address the needs. Make sure you do not leave any bench spots open. I see it all the time. A lot of people leave the bench spots open and then they get, SOL. So do not do that. Make sure you guys are smart with starting the right people, starts and sits. That's why you got to go back. Also, try to get to some of your stars and sits questions here. And I do a last minute news and notes every Sunday morning. So make sure you guys are tuned in here for the last minute news and notes every Sunday morning. And also what we do is part of FTFN Network, I've linked it below, is we do a virtual tailgate with all of the top influencers for every NFL team. We do it at FTFN Network. Make sure you guys are following that channel, FTFN, on YouTube. And of course, guys, very important, follow the Joe Camo Show. I've also linked that below, where I'm doing sports interviews with some top athletes and people in the industry all around, engaging conversations, breaking away a little bit from the fantasy industry just to get out there and open up my brand to more people and give them an opportunity to get on my platform and tell their story. It's very, very fascinating. The Joe Camo Show, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, of course, guys. Joe Camo Show, linked it below. All right, guys, week 9 is upon us. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk soon. Enjoy your weekend. Talk soon.